U-860 Blackhawk jolted violently as it banked hard over endless green canopy, its rotors tearing through the humid Arizona air, barely 180 feet above the ground. Inside the cramped cargo hold, Staff Sergeant Maya Reed, 31, ran her gloved hands over her HK-116 assault rifle, tracing the weapon's familiar contours like an old friend. After 9 years in Special Forces, the German-made rifle had become an extension of herself, a mechanical appendage that had saved her life more times than she cared to remember. 90 seconds! The crew chief shouted over the thundering rotors, his hand signal sharp and urgent against the rush of wind screaming through the open door. Maya tightened her helmet strap and adjusted her night vision mount. Through the open door, the dense forest along the Arizona-Mexico border stretched to infinity, dark, wet, and hostile. Somewhere down there, deep in territory controlled by the notorious Los Serpientes cartel, former Navy SEAL Captain Thomas Harrington was running for his life. Now a top DEA field operative, he carried intelligence that could shift the entire war on drugs. She closed her eyes briefly, muscle memory taking her back to Fort Bragg, 2010. The shooting range. The instructor's voice. "Reed, best damn shot I've seen in 15 years of training. Now if only you'd learn to follow orders without questioning everything." Her perfect score had been dismissed as luck. Her subsequent deployment to Afghanistan in 2011 had proven otherwise. 60 seconds. Colonel James Iron Porter, 58, moved beside her. The Desert Storm veteran's weathered face betrayed nothing, but the intensity in his eyes told Maya everything. This wasn't just another extraction. "Change of plans," Porter said, voice cutting through the rotor wash. "Just got word from command. Harrington isn't just carrying cartel financial records. He's got something called Patriot 7, a list of high-level officials who've been compromised. This is bigger than we thought." Maya studied Porter's face. "Sir, you and Harrington have history. Something I should know?" Porter's jaw tightened. "Fallujah, 2004. Joint operation. Harrington disobeyed a direct order, went after hostages when we were commanded to hold position." His eyes darkened. "Lost 4 men, but saved 12 civilians. Got a Silver Star while I got the reprimand for failure to maintain unit discipline. Some calls haunt you, Reed. This one's mine." Behind them, the rest of the team prepared. Master Sergeant Alan Tech Whelan, 45, comms specialist with salt and pepper hair and steady hands. Staff Sergeant Anna Viper Cortez, 34, weapons expert who could field strip an M249 saw blindfolded, and Sergeant First Class William Doc Miller, 40, a combat medic who'd saved more lives in Fallujah than most doctors save in a lifetime. The radio crackled. "Blackhawk 01, be advised, ground surveillance shows multiple armed patrols in your drop zone. Some targets wearing black tactical gear, not consistent with cartel operations." Porter's jaw tightened. "Mercenaries, professional contractors." He turned to Maya. "This just got complicated." 10 seconds. Porter gave the signal. The fast rope uncoiled like a serpent from the helicopter's belly. Maya took position at the door, adrenaline washing away any lingering doubt. "Go, go, go!" Maya didn't hesitate. She seized the thick rope and stepped into nothing, 80 feet of open air between her and the forest floor. The world blurred as she controlled her descent, the rope burning through her gloves despite her technique. Her HK-416 assault rifle thumped rhythmically against her chest plate until her boots slammed into soft earth. She dropped immediately into a combat crouch, weapon up, scanning the tree line to the east where the forest pressed closest. The HK-416's weight was reassuring, 30 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, 6 spare mags on her kit, 210 rounds total. She'd used less to hold off 50 Taliban fighters during the Korangal Valley operation in 2014. 3 seconds later, Porter descended beside her with the silent efficiency that had earned him his reputation across 3 wars. Then Whelan, his communications gear strapped tight to his back, Cortez followed, her movements fluid despite the M249 saw strapped across her chest. Miller came last, medical kit already accessible at his side. The Blackhawk was climbing away before Miller's boots touched ground, its rotor wash flattening the tall grass before the aircraft's signature faded into the heavy silence of the forest. Maya noticed it immediately. A spent 5.56 mm NATO casing, American military issue, not the 7.62 39 mm favored by cartel gunmen. "Sir," she whispered, pointing to the brass gleaming dully in the dirt. Porter examined it without touching. "M4 carbine. Military or contractors?" His voice dropped lower. "We're not just dealing with cartel sicarios. Someone else is hunting Harrington." "Rally Point Alpha," Porter said through their encrypted comms. "Standard dispersal. Reed, you're on point. Cortez rear security. Move." Maya moved forward into the green, each step calculated, each movement precise. This wasn't her first time in hostile territory, but something felt different. The skin on the back of her neck prickled with warning. They advanced in tactical column formation, 7 meters between each operator, weapons covering overlapping sectors. This wasn't cartel territory anymore. It was a hunting ground. "Status on our package?" Porter asked. Whelan hunched over his receiver, reading the encrypted beacon Harrington should be carrying. "Signal active. Bearing northeast, 1.8 clicks." He frowned. "Stationary for 20 minutes now." "Could be hiding," Cortez said from rear security, her voice professional but tense. "Or setting up an ambush," Maya countered, scanning forward with the practiced paranoia of someone who'd learned suspicion as a survival skill. "Or he's been captured." They pushed deeper into terrain that seemed designed to punish those who entered uninvited. Maya read the jungle's subtle language, which plants hinted at recent movement, which bird calls stopped abruptly, which trails showed signs of hasty passage. "Hold," she whispered, raising a fist. The team froze instantly, each operator dropping into defensive positions with overlapping fields of fire. Through her optic, Maya spotted movement. 3 armed men moving in patrol formation, 60 meters ahead. Their gear wasn't cartel standard. High-cut helmets, plate carriers, encrypted comms. One had an exposed forearm with a distinctive tattoo. "Marsoc," Maya breathed, recognizing the Marine Special Operations Command emblem inked on the man's arm. "Ex-military contractors," Porter confirmed grimly. "High-end mercenaries. I've seen this before. Cartel money can buy the best." They waited in absolute stillness until the patrol passed. Porter's expression darkened. "This operation is compromised. Someone knew we were coming." They continued northeast, following Harrington's signal until they reached a small clearing dominated by a weathered hunting cabin. Maya spotted a makeshift communications array. Definitely not cartel technology. Whelan gestured for silence as he adjusted his directional microphone. Through their earpieces came the intercepted conversation. "Operation Scorpion proceeds as scheduled," a voice said in unaccented English. "The weapons shipment moves to Honduras tomorrow regardless." "What about Harrington?" another voice asked. "He doesn't leave these woods alive," the first voice answered. "If he makes it to the border with those documents, we're all finished. The Patriot 7 would burn us all." "And the quantum cipher device?" "He still has it. Find him. Find it. Destroy both." Porter's eyes narrowed. Former American operators working for the cartel. Traitors. The word came out like poison. "And what the hell is a quantum cipher device?" Whelan's expression changed. "Classified CIA technology. Unhackable encryption. If Harrington has one, then this isn't just about drugs," Maya finished. "This is national security." They circled around the cabin, keeping to the tree line, and continued tracking Harrington's signal until it led them to another clearing. What they found made Maya's blood run cold. Thomas Harrington, the Navy SEAL legend who'd earned the Silver Star in 3 separate operations before joining the DEA, was bound to a tree, his face bruised and bloodied. 8 armed men surrounded him, their military bearing unmistakable despite civilian clothing. One man was working on Harrington methodically, his interrogation technique precise and professional. "I know that one," Maya whispered, recognizing the interrogator. "Gabriel Ramirez, ex-Delta, discharged for arms trafficking in 2018. Porter's jaw clenched. "Worked with him in Iraq. Man's a sadist with a badge until he lost it." Through her scope, Maya could see Harrington was conscious but fading. Blood soaked his torn khaki shirt, and his breathing was labored. Nearby sat his backpack, likely containing the intelligence they'd come for. "We're not leaving him," Porter decided, his voice leaving no room for debate. "Tech, you and Doc circle right. Reed, you and Cortez take left flank. I'll initiate. On my mark, take the 2 sentries at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Cortez, neutralize the machine gunner first." They spent 5 tense minutes moving into position. Maya settled behind a fallen log, her HK War 16 steady as she acquired her target. The sentry watching the eastern approach. Her breathing slowed, heart rate dropping into the shooter's calm she'd mastered in sniper school. "Execute in 3, 2, 1. Mark." Maya squeezed the trigger twice in rapid succession. The 5.56 millimeter rounds found their target with surgical precision, and the sentry dropped without a sound. Simultaneously, Cortez's M249 barked once, eliminating the machine gunner before he could bring his weapon to bear. The clearing erupted into controlled chaos. Porter's HK4-16 dispatched the man nearest Harrington with mechanical efficiency. Whelan targeted the communications specialist, severing their connection to reinforcements. The remaining mercenaries scattered, returning fire with the discipline of trained operators. Rounds cracked through the trees around Maya's position as she shifted her aim to a mercenary trying to flank their position. The firefight lasted less than 30 seconds, but felt like hours. When it ended, 7 mercenaries lay dead or dying. One had escaped into the forest. "Clear," Porter announced. "Doc, check Harrington. Tech, secure that pack." Miller sprinted to Harrington, blade out to cut his restraints. Maya maintained security, scanning for the escaped mercenary or reinforcements. "Multiple injuries, possible internal bleeding," Miller reported. As he examined Harrington more closely, his expression grew grave. "Sir, there's a puncture wound on his neck. Looks like Novichok poisoning. Russian nerve agent. His pupils are pinpointed, excessive salivation, respiratory distress, classic symptoms. He's got maybe 3 hours before complete respiratory failure." Harrington's eyes focused on Porter with recognition. "Iron Porter, never thought they'd send you to save me." "War makes strange bedfellows," Porter replied, checking Harrington's vitals himself. "Can you walk?" Harrington nodded weakly. As Miller helped him to his feet, he lurched toward Maya. "Sergeant," he whispered urgently, his voice strained as the nerve agent began affecting his speech. "Be careful. Patriot 7. One of them is in your unit." Maya felt ice water replace the blood in her veins. "A traitor? Here?" She glanced at each team member, suddenly seeing potential threats instead of allies. Porter's history with Harrington, Whelan's access to classified communications, Miller's surprising combat efficiency for a medic. "Rally Point Bravo," Porter ordered. "Bound and cover. Reed, Cortez, you're first." They began their fighting withdrawal using textbook fire and maneuver techniques. One element moved while another provided covering fire, constantly creating distance from the contact site. But the forest had come alive with pursuit. Radio chatter indicated at least 12 mercenaries converging on their position. "Contact left," Whelan warned. More mercenaries were moving to cut them off. "Engage," Porter commanded, and the jungle erupted again with gunfire. Maya pivoted, her HK-416 finding a target moving between trees. She led him slightly and squeezed the trigger. He went down hard, but they kept coming. For every mercenary they dropped, two more seemed to materialize from the foliage. "We need to break contact," Cortez called, slamming a fresh magazine into her M249. "Too many tangos, not enough ammo." "Rally Point Charlie," Porter decided. "Change direction. Head for the river. They're blocking our primary exfil." Harrington stumbled, the Novichok causing his muscles to spasm. "The cipher," he gasped. "Inner pocket. Protect it." Miller reached into Harrington's jacket and extracted a small black device the size of a cigarette lighter. "This it?" "Quantum cipher," Harrington confirmed, each word a struggle. "Unhackable. Codes to Operation Longbow, CIA Black Operation." They executed a textbook fighting withdrawal, each team member providing cover while others bounded backward. Maya ejected her empty magazine and loaded a fresh one. 4 mags left, about 120 rounds. Not enough at this rate. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew more organized. These weren't cartel gunmen. These were professionals executing coordinated small unit tactics. "They're using U.S. military frequencies," Whelan reported, monitoring their communications. "Standard operating procedures straight out of the Ranger's handbook." "Why would ex-military work for cartels?" Maya asked between bursts of covering fire. "Money, power, ideology," Porter replied grimly. "Some men think they're patriots when they're just traitors in disguise." Whelan's face tightened momentarily, almost imperceptibly, but Maya caught it, a reaction to Porter's words. They pushed their pace through increasingly difficult terrain. Harrington was struggling, each step clearly agony, but he kept moving through sheer willpower as the nerve agent attacked his nervous system. "RPG!" Cortez shouted. The rocket-propelled grenade screamed through the canopy and detonated against a tree 15 meters behind them. The blast knocked Maya sideways, shrapnel pinging off her plate carrier. "Everyone good?" Porter called, already back on his feet. "Good," came the replies, though Maya's left arm throbbed where shrapnel had grazed her. "Keep moving. They're getting desperate." Through gaps in the foliage, the Colorado River finally appeared, a brown ribbon about 40 meters wide, swollen from recent rains. "Rally Point Delta," Porter designated, indicating a defensible spot on the riverbank. "Set security, call in extraction, prepare for hot exfil." They formed a defensive perimeter, each operator covering a sector with weapons aimed outward. Harrington collapsed at the center, where Miller immediately began treating him. "The Novichok is progressing," Miller reported. "Respiratory system compromised. Heart rate irregular. He needs the antidote, atropine, within 2 hours or permanent damage is guaranteed." "Tech, where's our ride?" Porter asked. "Blackhawk 79er inbound," Whelan replied, hunched over his radio. "ETA 40 minutes. 40 minutes. An eternity when surrounded by professional killers who knew their tactics and had numbers on their side. "Contact west," Maya called, her HK-416 already firing. A dozen mercenaries were advancing in fire teams, using proper cover and concealment. Maya fired controlled pairs. Her first target went down clutching his chest. Her second dove for cover, forcing her to shift focus to a third attempting to flank their position. "RPG team, 10 o'clock, Cortez shouted. Maya spotted them reloading behind a fallen log 70 meters away. A difficult shot through dense foliage, but possible. She steadied her breathing, lined up on the loader's exposed shoulder, and squeezed the trigger. The HK-416 cracked once, and the loader jerked backward, rocket tumbling from his hands. "Boats on the river," Whelan reported. 2, both with mounted weapons. 2 fast attack crafts surged upstream, each with heavy machine guns and additional mercenaries. Cortez shifted her fire to the lead boat, rounds stitching across its bow. The operator dropped and the craft spun into the bank. The second boat kept coming, its heavy gun tearing chunks from the trees around them. "We can't hold this position," Miller shouted over the gunfire. "We hold until extraction arrives," Porter replied grimly. "That's the mission." Maya's world narrowed to her optic. Acquire, confirm, fire. Move to the next target. Her HK-416 was hot from constant use but functioned flawlessly, German engineering living up to its reputation. "Last mag," Cortez called out. "Conserve ammunition," Porter ordered. "Aimed shots only." The tempo of American fire dropped instantly. No more suppression, only precision shots at confirmed targets. "I'm out," Whelan announced as his HK-416's bolt locked back on an empty chamber. Switching to sidearm. "How long on that bird?" Porter demanded. 25 minutes," Whelan answered. 25 minutes. Maya had maybe 15 rounds left, and the enemy was pressing closer with each passing second. Then Whelan did something unexpected. He turned, raised his pistol, and aimed directly at Harrington's head. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice strangely calm amid the chaos. "But Patriot 7 can't be exposed." Maya reacted instinctively, throwing herself sideways into Whelan. The pistol discharged, the round grazing her shoulder instead of finding Harrington's skull. Porter was on Whelan instantly, disarming him with a savage efficiency that belied his 58 years. "You don't understand," Whelan gasped as Porter secured him. "I've served for 22 years, watched our country get sold out piece by piece. Patriot 7 aren't traitors, they're patriots. Operation Scorpion will eliminate the cartels permanently by giving them defective weapons that will fail when they need them most. It's the only way to win this war. By selling weapons that will kill our own agents in the field," Porter spat. "By betraying your oath? There are no shortcuts to victory, son." "They promised me," Whelan said, his composure cracking. "Said I'd be remembered as the man who finally won the drug war. That my family would be taken care of." "They lied," Harrington managed to say, his voice weak from the Novichok. "Scorpion? Weapons are real. They're arming terrorist cells across Latin America. False flag. Operation. Blame it on CIA. Destabilize region." A fresh barrage of gunfire interrupted them. The mercenaries sensed weakness and were pressing their advantage. Maya fired her remaining rounds with calculated precision, each shot finding its target. 2 rounds left," she reported, ejecting her nearly spent magazine and seating her final one. "Partially loaded with just 5 rounds. "Make them count," Porter said, firing his own last magazine. Miller was down to his sidearm. Cortez had resorted to throwing grenades scavenged from fallen mercenaries. They were moments from being overrun. Then a sound cut through the gunfire, the unmistakable roar of jet engines. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets screamed overhead at barely 500 feet, their appearance as shocking as it was unexpected. "Phantom lead, this is Raptor 3-1, a new voice announced over their comms. "Heard you boys needed some assistance. Marking your position with IR strobe." "Confirmed," Porter replied, activating the infrared beacon on his gear. "Danger close, west side. Bring the rain." The jets banked hard and unleashed hell. Their 20mm cannons roared, hundreds of rounds per second shredding the jungle to their west. Trees disintegrated into splinters. Earth erupted in geysers of dirt. The mercenaries simply vanished under the metal storm. The effect was immediate. The remaining attackers broke and scattered, their professional discipline shattered by the apocalyptic firepower. The FA-18s made another pass, this time with rockets that slammed into the tree line, detonating in cascading fireballs. Then silence, broken only by the fading roar of jet engines and the gentle lapping of river water. "Raptor 3-1, Phantom lead," Porter said into his radio. "You're beautiful human beings." "We aim to please," came the laconic reply. "We'll provide overwatch until your ride arrives." 10 minutes later, they heard it. The rhythmic thump of rotor blades growing louder. The Blackhawk was coming in fast and low, hugging the terrain. "Reed, get Harrington ready for transport," Porter ordered. "Doc, keep him stable. Harrington's getting worse. The Novichok is spreading." Indeed, Harrington's breathing had become increasingly labored, his pupils now pinpoints, skin clammy with sweat. The nerve agent was shutting down his respiratory system. As the helicopter approached, Porter made a decision. "Maya, you and Miller get Harrington on that bird with the quantum cipher. I'll cover your exfil with Cortez." "Sir?" Maya questioned. "We all go or none go. That's the rule." "Rules change when the mission demands it," Porter replied, checking his nearly empty weapon. "Get that intelligence back to Washington. That's an order, Sergeant." "The antidote," Harrington gasped. "CIA safe house. Phoenix. Only chance." The Black Hawk flared over the river, rotor wash whipping up sheets of spray as the pilot executed a textbook hot insertion. The crew chief scanned for threats while the door gunner's minigun spun ready. "Go! Go! Go!" Porter shouted. Maya and Miller half-carried Harrington toward the helicopter. 20 meters of exposed ground never felt so vast. Rounds kicked up dirt at their feet as the remaining mercenaries resumed firing from multiple angles. Porter and Cortez provided covering fire, their weapons barking in defiance despite nearly depleted ammunition. The Blackhawk's minigun opened up, its mechanical scream drowning everything as thousands of rounds per minute chewed through the foliage where muzzle flashes had appeared. Maya reached the Blackhawk first. The crew chief grabbed Harrington, hauling him aboard while Miller scrambled in behind them. "Porter! Cortez! Now!" Maya screamed over the rotor wash. Porter locked eyes with her across the distance. "Get him home, Reed. Complete the mission." With that, he turned back toward the tree line, Cortez at his side, both firing methodically at the advancing mercenaries. The FA-18s screamed overhead once more, unleashing their remaining ordnance in a final devastating strike. "We have to go," the pilot shouted. "Now or never." Maya made the hardest decision of her career. "Go," she ordered, knowing what it meant for those left behind. The Black Hawk lurched skyward, climbing rapidly as tracer rounds reached futilely toward it. Through the open door, Maya watched Porter and Cortez growing smaller, still fighting, still defiant, until smoke and distance obscured them completely. 1 week later, Arlington National Cemetery was quiet save for the rhythmic cadence of the honor guard and the soft weeping of family members. Maya stood ramrod straight in her dress uniform as Colonel James Porter was laid to rest with full military honors. Ana Cortez would be buried the following day. The intelligence they'd recovered had led to the arrest of 5 members of Patriot 7, high-ranking officials who'd authorized illegal weapon sales to terrorist organizations across Latin America under the guise of Operation Scorpion. The plan had been to destabilize the region, blame the CIA, and then move in with private military contractors to restore order while seizing control of drug corridors. 2 of the conspirators remained at large. Harrington had barely survived. The CIA safe house in Phoenix had the Novichok antidote, administered with only minutes to spare. He would live, though with permanent nerve damage that ended his field career. As the ceremony concluded, a familiar figure approached. Thomas Harrington, pale and using a cane, his movements stiff from the nerve agent's lasting effects. "They were heroes," he said simply, looking at Porter's flag-draped coffin. "They were soldiers," Maya corrected, "just doing what soldiers do." Harrington handed her a small box. Inside was Porter's silver star in a handwritten note. "Reed, if you're reading this, I didn't make it. Take command of Phantom Team. Find the last 2. Finish the mission. Iron Porter." "There's a briefing tomorrow at Pentagon," Harrington said quietly. "Blackhawk 02 departs at 0600. They found one of the remaining Patriot 7 members in Honduras. There's evidence he's meeting with the last member. Maya closed the box, her decision already made. I'll be there. Somewhere out there, 2 traitors still walked free. The mission wasn't complete, and Maya Reed had never failed to complete a mission. Porter had taught her that,